Handsome Hockey Podcast. 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 Handsome Hockey Podcast.
Handsome Hockey Podcast. Well, just before the madness of the holidays hits us all, we decided, you know what? Let's record another episode of the Handsome Hockey Podcast. That's right, folks. We're here with episode 73 of the Handsome Hockey Podcast. My name is Jake, and across from me is
Evan.
That means we're going to talk about the whale.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, is the madness not already in front of us? Because I am just buried in just like Christmas shit to do. We forewent a tree this year just because we're too damn busy for a tree. We have a wreath to save face on the front, and then we have a couple little random sprinklings. We do have a new menorah for our roommate, and it's really cool looking.
Yeah, I saw it. It was very nice.
We're going to do a little bit more sprucing up of the place, pun intended. But yeah, it's Christmas time.
Before the weather outside gets so frightful and your fire is too delightful to do more sprucing up.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is you might have no place to go. So
you're right. It's still not going to fucking snow. Except if you go up the mountain. And I need to do January. That to change things. Do you know who is getting some serious new presents under their tree this year?
Not Kanye.
No, he gets coal.
Probably, you said nice presents, and so anybody who gets the Trump trading cards, NFTs, those aren't nice.
Kanye's coal will be Balenciaga coal.
Yeah. It'll be conflict diamond coal. Elon Musk will give it to him, so he's got a supply.
Right, he's got that in the safe.
I drew this joke out way too long. Please tell us what are the nice presents under the tree?
Well, the Premier Hockey Federation is set to double their salary cap per team for next season, and that's going to mean a shit ton for both them and all of women's hockey. Congratulations, everyone involved. This will even probably be good for the PWHPA too, but it sets a competition.
The bar.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And responds.
Yeah. The cap is going from the $750K that it is this year up to $1.5 million next year. A massive jump. And it's actually a 900% increase from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So the PHF is making moves. First off, they became the PHF. That was a big move. And now their salary cap is going to be the highest of, I think, any women's sports league in the United States or in North America.
They're going like crypto in 2014.
Hopefully they don't go like crypto in 2022. Yep.
This is historic, both for them and just for the sport. They have a floor right now, which is 75% of the salary cap, or $262,500.
$562,500.
Sorry, did I make a 5 into a 2 in my head? Yeah. Oh, whoops.
Are you dyslexic?
Just a little dyslexic. Shout out to my dyslexic friends out there. Yeah. But
word to your mothers.
One would assume that this just means Michaela Grant-Mentis will get paid double when her contract is up, or maybe be put into a position to negotiate immediately.
Yeah. You would think we're on the cusp then of somebody signing a $100,000 contract. Yeah,
it's really interesting to have the salary cap increase that much in 1 year. The economics of that must be a little wild. Everybody's agent in the PHF right now just must be like, whoa, my God.
What a bummer for the people who signed 2-year deals.
Yeah, for real. And we did see that because, job security.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I told my bosses, I'm willing to sign a team-friendly contract if I don't get laid off in this coming recession.
if the term is good.
Yeah. So congratulations. Like, I don't exactly know what else to say, because this is an expansion of the market. The other shoe, there are many shoes to drop. I mean, it's not really even right to say it's a second shoe, but this is huge.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Murphy of the Ice Garden and at Dig Deep BSB,
Who we love.
Yeah. Wonderful. Posted just some numbers for Jillian Dempsey and Kaylee Fratkin, two people who have been in the league long enough to have these kinds of numbers. In 2015-16, Jillian Dempsey made $10,500. The following year, she made $13,000. This year, she's making $40K. So that's a very modest, or not. That's a very honest leap in salary.
Sure.
Kaylee Fratkin, even higher, went from $11,000 in 2019-2020 to $57,500 this year. So, like, if you double this again, you're going to see a ton of these women make a livable wage to where they won't have to, in theory, work these other jobs.
Yeah, it's interesting when you think about maybe the downstream effects of this. Like, what does this say to college hockey? Maybe college women's hockey suddenly expands.
Hopefully at the University of Michigan.
That seems like it's just got to happen. But these salaries start to be on par with AHL salaries, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I think anytime you can safely raise a salary cap this much, you're showing a dedication to the athletes, and you're showing a desire to attract the best athletes. And we saw that this year with some folks leaving the PWHPA for the PHF because they had that guaranteed money and it was going to be better than what they were making. They're making decisions for their lives, right?
Yeah, the first true defectors.
Yeah. And so moving forward, I mean, we still don't know what the PWHPA is going to do next year. There's been a lot of saber rattling, but no, like,
that's a good term for it.
No,
because once they debut something, it will be worthwhile. But yeah, we've heard a lot of marketing and not a whole lot of reality from them.
Right, and so we will see how this progresses with women's hockey in general. In the meantime, though, this very PHF specific news is huge for all of the all of the athletes in the league, and we look forward to seeing more details and hopefully more contract numbers as they come out as people sign this coming off season.
Yeah, Cap Besties has been a huge boon for that, and for us just hockey nerds, fans of the game. I love also the message that this sends to younger women's hockey players that hey, you can maybe go to college with a thought of playing professional hockey, or whatever that path might look like for you. Because to get paid an actual living wage for what you do is, it's every hockey player's dream in some respect. You see a lot of these like TikTok skills guys that hey, they're doing what they can to carve out their little tiny bit of hockey stardom. Maybe women's hockey can have more of that, more of a cultural phenomenon. This is only like a huge growth opportunity for every facet of women's hockey with one kind of fell swoop. Like it's a little amazing in that respect, just to think about all of the ways that this might impact women's hockey from top to bottom. So we started out with one group of people getting presents under this tree, but now we are going to go to our naughty list.
It's extensive.
It is extensive. We have a lot of judgment to enact on a lot of people generally. And so, we've just chosen to give you a little snippet of it here, but nobody would be more apropos to kick off our naughty list than the goalie that everyone loves to hate, Jordan Binnington.
We were texting the other day as he was once more partaking in his stupid antics.
They are antics.
Yeah, and they're so bad that people on his team, including his coach, are like, this really needs to fucking stop.
Right. His coach is making the fucking Ben Affleck smoking a cigarette out back meme.
And
oh god,
gotta play fucking Jordan. Why'd we trade away Billy Husso? God
right.
damn it.
Yeah. How bad do they feel about trading away Billy Husso?
Hopefully
now?
really bad, and hopefully he continues to be wonderful for Detroit. But while texting, we decided on a new award for the NHL, and it's in French, so I'll translate it for you. But the French is Le Piss Baby Supreme.
From our people south of the border, that is the Piss Baby Supreme.
Yeah. I'm glad we're bilingual here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's taken it to another level. Like, he's the only way he can go from here is to turn it into some true Andy Kaufman performance art, because he's just acting like a fucking crazy spoiled child out there. He got kicked out of a game for giving up a goal to somebody, and then was it Jason Zucker or somebody, and then he as he's getting yanked, flies past their bench and gives them a intimidation shoulder shrug.
Nobody's afraid of you.
Yeah, right.
We all know you're a piss baby.
We've all seen you fake swing a goalie stick 2 times already at people.
Yeah, it's not even intimidating.
No, it's not.
We all know you're not going to do anything. He could do that to me, and I'd be like, stop it, Jordan.
Right. I had to chase down a goalie the other day, and, oh, man, I was scared for my life.
Well,
and, that's fucking beer league hockey.
Yeah.
Jordan Binnington scaring nobody.
With the same amount of padding. Yeah, I just wish that he would go away. You've got your cup, dude. Just go home. Wherever in Canada you're from.
Me
just
too.
Go there. And don't talk. Just don't talk. Don't have social media. He's got a golden retriever, so I know he's got good things in his life.
Oh yeah, do you dog stalk NHL players?
Not him, even though he has a golden retriever. Ivan Provorov, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Drake the pup star.
I think this should be something that's recorded. NHL dog power rankings.
It's honestly Nedeljkovic has a golden retriever and a black lab, so
that's what it takes to make him feel better after his performance for the Wings.
Yeah, he's had a rough year, but so
maybe that's why he's got a great support system.
Right? Yeah, he just goes home and he's like, it's okay. Look at this.
Yeah.
So the Le Piss Baby Supreme Award is going to be kind of the opposite of the Lady Bing. It's Lady Bing is exuding all the qualities of sportsmanship and fair play, and being the moral fiber of the game,
even though it's only ever given to people that take the lowest amount of penalty minutes.
Yeah, it's congrats, Brett Pesci.
Yeah, congratulations, Jacob Slavin.
Yeah, Jacob Slavin. Wrong.
I was
Canes defenseman.
Yeah, Brett Pesci is
he's mean.
The yang of Jacob Slavin's yin. Or I don't even know who else is winning the Lady Bing, because it's kind of a boring trophy. Le Piss Baby Supreme, on the other hand, is the best trophy. Imagine like a giant gilded like Herbert Mountain Dew Camacho as the trophy for Le Piss Baby
It's
Supreme.
Like in soccer, there's the cult of shithousery, like this idea of like somebody who's just like hard to play against because they like toe that line between like dirty and and
Yeah, that would be a great award.
This is just like you being a piece of crap, like you being like the turd that somebody sneaks into somebody's Halloween bag. Like you are the worst. And so Le Piss Baby Supreme, like it's going to take a lot to take this off of Jordan Binnington's shoulders. He is the inaugural recipient.
Yeah, prior
and
winners
he should feel
include
bad.
like, I don't know, Chris Neal or like or Sean Avery. I can't even think of who else. Like
I always wanted to punch Sandus Ozolinch, but I'm guessing it's not him.
Yeah, I mean, Todd Bertuzzi.
No, Todd Bertuzzi is a violent maniac.
Yeah, like he's a sociopath. There's a difference. Like he's actually he follows through in every way that Jordan Binnington does not.
Yeah, that's not us being proponents of what Todd Bertuzzi does.
No, true. I was
Better
gonna
to be a
say-
piss baby than to be a like vaguely homicidal maniac.
Right. Yeah, Piss Baby is exactly him because he's so fucking ineffectual, and he's in his own head. You can tell like that's all of this shit. He needs to see whatever guru that like Marc Messier goes to, because he'll explain to him like, hey, as a goalie, you're going to perform a whole lot better if you are centered and agile mentally than if you are this like wannabe Michael Jordan maniacal competitor that you apparently seem to want to be. As his fantasy owner, I can only imagine what his coach and GM are going through right now, because I'm just like, yeah, you're goalie 17 in a 10-man league, but god damn it, I'm tired of seeing your face in the media.
He does have a punch face too.
He really
He
does.
really has a
like
punch face.
like in terms of like tiny goalie giant pads punchable face. Yeah, absolutely. Like some goalies look more normal in goalie pads, and then like whenever he takes off a helmet, it's like he looks like you put Beaker from the Muppets in goalie pads. Like
Face punching has been kind of a theme this week.
Yeah.
And it also happened in Winnipeg when the Colorado Avalanche were in town.
there was an excessive face punching there.
Yeah, this fan went all like Shannon Epstein, Chris Christie's niece on the Winnipeg area metropolitan forces,
Which is like bold decision to make at an away game.
especially in another country. Like I know Canada's
Exactly.
very nice, but like you could disappear.
Yeah,
There's a lot of land in Canada that nobody is in.
Justin Trudeau's SEAL Team 6 will come get you on their way to rescue Bo Horvat.
Like have fun in Nineveh, dickhead.
Yeah, you're exiled to fucking Baffin Island.
Like the Northwest Territories with like nothing but like a Zippo lighter and one sock. Good luck. Yeah. Unfortunately for the Avs, it seems like their fans' poor behavior has kind of created a karmic wave as injuries have hit the team. I mean, it's been going on all season, but now it got Nathan McKinnon. Like
Everybody is hurt.
Even his special pasta couldn't save him from this. Like,
Hurt. Yeah, no chickpeas can solve whatever is going on with him. They did
turned his back into hummus.
They did finally get Valerie Nichushkin back. He's still taking some time to get up to speed. But like Lekkonen's been hurt. Landeskog
hasn't played a
still
game.
hurt.
Yeah, they've just been down people all season, and it shows in the standings. Like they're having a rough season.
They are
Well,
giving
a rough
Alex
season for a reigning Stanley Cup champion.
Reigning Stanley Cup champion that probably will have it all back together by the time that the playoffs roll around, because they're giving Alex Newhook a lot of ice time.
I think they need another center.
Yeah, they totally do.
Yeah.
But trade season coming. There might be some presents under the tree if you're Joe Sakic. I mean, I'm sure a whole lot of GMs right now are like ignoring Joe Sakic's calls. Like, no, don't talk to that guy. Ooh, don't talk to that guy.
He's like, and Joe Sakic's just sitting there going, I know you'll talk to me.
It's like, I want Thomas Chabot.
Or maybe Jacob Chikrin, which brings us to Arizona, where a man got his finger bitten off, like legitimately removed from his hand in a brawl that erupted in Mullet Arena at a game between the Yotes and the Bruins. This is fucking bonkers. Like, there were pictures online of him like holding up his hand, and like sure enough, he's missing a digit. It's
Which digit was he missing? I have not seen.
I think it was the pointer finger.
Oh man, critical finger.
Yeah, like I couldn't believe this actually fucking happened. Like,
if someone bites off my like left hand ring finger, I'm just like, well, I wasn't going to use it anyway.
Yeah, the video from the fight like makes it look like this was probably somewhere in Philadelphia. Like there's a ton of massive like swells of people where they're just like like, at a Coyotes game.
Right. Whoever said that their fans don't care, we already sort of knew was wrong, because Yotes fans are hardy. They are hardy like Coyotes themselves. B, they dropped this team in a fucking college town and in a college arena. Like, frat bros, no bounds.
The fight, Steven Roca is the victim here, and he, according to Boston.com, was transported to a local hospital after the tip of his index finger was bitten off, was bitten, quote unquote, completely off by Arizona State University police.
So I got to ask, just the tip?
I was at Crafty Wonderland this weekend, and as I was walking in, a man was walking out, and he said, and he had a sweatshirt on. It said, "Just the tip, I promise." And it was a picture of a bullet, and I was like, "You are the saddest piece of shit ever." Like, you are so fucking embarrassing.
Replace that bullet with like the Mormon logo, and that's a great t-shirt.
Yeah. Or a picture of the Pope. I'm going to butcher this name, don't care. The biter was identified as Nashadnik Alan Shantz, a spokesperson for ASU police told Boston.
And was he a Bruins fan?
I don't know. Shantz was arrested for aggravated assault, while Roca and 4 others were issued citations for disorderly conduct. So it turns out and 3 of these people have the last name of Roca, so it sounds like a whole family got in on this.
I mean, I'm just wondering if he's a Bostonian, like just gathering calories for winter. Human finger's a little bony, but you got to get your calories where you got to get them. Well, it's about survival.
It is pretty crazy that it's definitely Yotes fans versus, oh, wow, a woman just got punched in the face.
Are you just watching the video right now?
Yeah, there's a dude in a pasta jersey who's getting wrecked.
That's the thing about the Avalanche Winnipeg fight. It was like, this is fairly nonchalant. It was less exciting than when the Kraken fans first fought the Nashville fans in Nashville. And it was like, oh, welcome to the NHL. That sounds crazy.
I just love that the game is going on while this brouhaha is happening, and then the cops come in. There's a ton of Boston fans sitting together, so I'm guessing it was something along the lines of a Coyotes fan saying something like, you guys fucking suck. And like the Bruins fan like said something along the lines of like, yeah, well, we make the playoffs and have championships. And the Coyotes fan was like, I'll show you a playoff. And like, so like a woman wearing a Gronk jersey gets like thrown to the ground. Which would have never happened to real Gronk. And like, it's incredible.
Looks like it couldn't have happened to nicer people.
Yeah, I mean, Boston, right?
Yeah. If
Arizona.
If out of the Boston like Mount Rushmore, you're gonna pick Gronk, that says something about you.
You like to party.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I like it, but it says something about you.
Well, I mean, Gronk went to U of A, so like he's...
Oh, that's right. I forgot that connection.
I know we're talking about like dismemberment. Sadly, it's going to get worse.
It sounds like he got his finger back.
Yeah, that was my understanding, was the finger was returned.
Speaking of just the tip, this is just the tip of the fucking iceberg. Hockey Canada went and put out a release of information on discrimination in the game, incidents in their games between 2021-22 year, coming to a total of 512 incidents of racial, sexual, all kinds of discrimination. It has a sense of kind of like a, look over here, don't look at these several continuing gang rape allegations at our best hockey players. Like, look at this good we're doing by just aggregating statistics on penalties from their matches.
Look at all the data we've got about awful things that happen in our games.
Right.
What are you doing about it? About what?
Don't ask about that. That's not the question we want to ask.
Tosses paper aside. About
Right.
what? What are we talking about?
Bring in fucking Rocky Wirtz to be like, we don't want to hear about that. This is stuff that needed to come out anyways. Like, this is the I would say the bottom of the barrel kind of minimum effort data that I would expect to come out if you, as a hockey body, have any sort of like diversity, equity, inclusion bones in your body. Like,
Let's be honest, they still don't, but
right.
They are like being required to basically by the Canadian government.
And
at this
like,
point.
if this is perhaps on the path back, I am throwing them a huge bone here. Good, but it's not. They're just trying to distract us from the things at hand. But it is notable. We should talk about it because it is indicative of what goes on every day in hockey culture, both in Canada and in America, where anyone but white men face difficulty, face either the threat of some sort of discrimination or actual discrimination. And so, calling a spade, releasing these data, like, that's important to the movement forward, but it's coming at a very curious time, when Hockey Canada is trying to deflect from other things that are maybe less kind of a function of people playing hockey and society, and maybe much worse. I don't know. Comparing apples to oranges, I suppose. But yeah, during the course of the season, according to The Athletic, there were 415 allegations of discrimination that were brought forward after not being witnessed by an official. 75 of those resulted in suspensions. So roughly 100 incidents were witnessed by an official, on-ice official.
Which seems low, personally.
Right. I mean, maybe that's a corollary of where we are right now with, how people treat others in society, or maybe that's just an oversight on their part. We did just talk about in our last episode what went on in a fairly kind of rote way, what happens when you have an on-ice incident of discrimination with the Big Ten and between Michigan State and Ohio State. So according to Hockey Canada, this is the first year of reporting.
Sorry, like I'm just gonna laugh. Like that really, this is your first year.
Yeah, that just adds to the curiosity of it, doesn't it? And like, okay, you're probably fucking reporting this. You just haven't released it or something like that. And they say it does not present a comprehensive representation of discrimination in hockey, nor does it report on other incidents of maltreatment, harassment, or abuse, such as sexual violence. Which, second half of that statement, all right, that's legit. First half of that statement, well, I mean, it's pretty comprehensive. So
at least it should be.
I guess they're saying, well, there's more that goes on behind the scenes that we're not talking about. So I don't know. This disclaimer on it is both telling and maybe correct.
Yeah.
Hockey Canada says that they're going to progressively expand tracking and reporting efforts. Good luck.
Cool.
Godspeed. And to most importantly to me, publicly start talking about stats about other types of abuse, maltreatment, abuse, and harassment next season. So I guess the story really is like, we're going to start finding out the reality about Canada. We think of them as like the nice neighbors to the north of very dysfunctional America. And well, not anymore next year.
They got some problems too.
Oh yeah. Plenty.
In a completely 100% totally unrelated from anything that has gone on from with Hockey Canada in the last, say, like 4 years, maybe in like 2018, completely and totally unrelated. Shockingly and weirdly and curiously, Alex Formenton is going to miss the entire season after not being able to come to a contract negotiation with the Senators. It's really weird that somebody who very much played on that 2018 Canadian team
and can't come up with an alibi for where they were.
Yeah, no, like again, totally unrelated. Like this, like there's clearly no smoke and or fire here. This is nothing, just purely consequential. Complete coincidence, but yeah, it seems like Alex Formenton is going to have to take a year off after not being able to come to terms on an RFA deal this year.
Rumor has it is that he's going to go to the KHL, where, you know, all of North America's nicest hockey people go for respite.
Yeah, that's why Jake Virtanen's over there. Slava Voinov, like that's, you know, like good, hearty, hale human beings of classy repute head over to the KHL when they, for some totally unrelated to the 2018 Canadian World Juniors team reason, head over or can't sign a contract.
So
with an NHL
yeah,
team.
For those that don't know what we're talking about, basically,
oh no, I think we should just leave it at that. That's kind of great.
Sure, fine.
I think it's funny, but yeah. Yeah, you know, it's just a weird coinkydink that
ain't it funny
that Alex Formenton has not been able to sign a contract.
It's also funny that he's
deal.
like easily the worst looking of the bunch.
And it's also really weird that like we would put the Alex Formenton not being able to get a contract story in between a story about Hockey Canada and our next fella. Like there's just no...
Yeah, it's
like,
totally coincidence that we're going to talk about Zvi Levrin, a Michigan doctor who has been accused of widespread sexual assault, who also was a moil, so he would perform circumcisions. Also, a urologist is accused of...
This is all obvious in retrospect, right?
Right. Well, that's how you make the Times of Israel with sexual allegations in Michigan. Is you also betray the faith. But he was already facing something like 10 charges and now is facing 7 more because, well, the news came out about his charging and a whole lot of people stepped forward. So allegedly police had something.
Good for them.
Yeah, allegedly police had something like 33 tips on his activities. Obviously, this guy and his lawyer are entering not guilty pleas, doing their best, says he's innocent, but preponderance of evidence says you are going to jail for a long time. And it sucks. It really sucks. Sucks for everyone involved. Sucks for hockey. Sucks for Jewish people. Sucks for Michigan State. Thank goodness they found this dude because, well, there were a lot of abusers in hockey that have gone unfound for longer. So, yeah.
It sucks when we're like, oh, good, only 17 cases.
Right. I mean, like that's...
We've reached a state where, especially us who keep on reporting this stuff, even as it damages our psyches and our love of the game, that we've gotten to a point where we're like, oh, they caught him early. There's only allegations against him sexually assaulting most of a hockey team, like worth of people. Like, it sucks that we've gotten to that point.
In reality, he's actually probably been one of the more prolific abusers that we've reported on because, well, only a handful of people came forward for Brad Aldrich, and this guy, they're coming forward in waves and waves. So when we talk about the bad, dark alleys and dark portions of hockey culture, this is exactly what we're talking about. If you have a power void and don't trust accusers for long enough, these people that will rack up 30-something cases of abuse and counting will happen. People need to listen to children when they tell them that they're getting abused.
And it hurts you not at all to listen.
Right.
Like it hurts you not at all to do a little digging. The consequences of doing nothing, the consequences of inaction are always, 100% always, worse than the consequences of doing something.
And I understand that it's difficult to assess a situation when you are dealing with doctors that are necessarily dealing with those parts of the body. That was one of the things that hid Larry Nassar, as well as this dude is, well, he's a urologist. Larry Nassar was a women's sports expert that, dealt with hips and internal things. And you want to give patients their freedom, and you don't want to ask a whole lot of questions about what goes on in those areas of the body a lot. But that's what these people hide behind, is that space, that unwillingness to talk that we have in society right now.
Or the unwillingness to listen.
Yeah, both, I would say. I mean, when conservatives get up in arms about sexual health teaching in schools, it's because we are teaching the words to children with which that they can report abuse and take away the power of abusers. If you say I'm being touched, in a specific spot versus I'm being, I can't verbalize this, it makes a huge difference.
Well, that's why people gravitate towards abusing children, because they haven't yet formed the vocabulary or the confidence to report something that is heinous and destructive.
Right. And so it's kind of telling when conservatives get up in arms about, well, we taught little boys the term penis. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah. No, the medical term is dingling.
Right. I know conservative families that still speak in euphemisms about normal things that happen in the body
with their
adult children.
And be like, oh, did you make a boom boom there in the bathroom? That rhymed. No, I took a shit. Oh, Steven, how could you? This is a Christian home.
Yeah, and that's the kind of shit that hides abusers, both in the church and in sport.
Fucking everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere But, well, those are, I guess, the two that we'll focus on. So, yeah, hope that he can get all the justice that is due to him. And I hope that his survivors can get what they need from him receiving the justice. And I wish them all just the best healing journey that they could possibly endure, because they didn't deserve what happened to them. And this guy is a fucking predator, and thank God he got found.
So let's maybe make it a little lighter now.
Yeah, we're gonna back it off a bit.
Yeah, we've still got one more entry in our not receiving presents, our naughty list.
But this is much lighter.
Yeah, this is way lighter, and I honestly am very thankful that it is. So Jesse Puljujarvi, let's just say he has not lived up to the hype of some of the Edmonton Oilers' other high draft picks.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You know, not every first round draft pick is going to be, or not every top 5 draft pick for that matter is going to be, is going to work out. Jesse, however, gave an interview to YLE Sport, which is the Finnish sports agency or news agency, in which he basically said, yeah, I'm not going to be in the NHL next year. I'm hoping to be in Europe, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little telling, but him and Bo Horvat maybe texted or something, and that they both gave really depressing interviews really early in the season, in which he just said, maybe I don't have it about being an NHL player, which I think skill-wise, he absolutely does. I think being on the Edmonton Oilers probably sucks a lot for a guy like him. He gave just his quotes from this interview were like, if you play with Connor, you have to score. Maybe I just don't have it. Or, of course, I'd like to be productive top-line player, but right now it looks like I can't do that in NHL. Maybe some other league. Yeah, he's totally fucking jumping ship.
Yeah.
But,
and honestly, though, is it better to do that now and go home or go somewhere in Europe and have a productive career and enjoy yourself when he's clearly not enjoying himself?
But
now?
He's still so young.
But that's fine.
I mean, if Buffalo didn't feel if Buffalo felt the same way, or any of these players in Buffalo felt the same way, they just wouldn't play. He's shooting at an all-time low shooting percentage for him. He's had a lot. I mean, Evander Kane kind of showed up and took his job in many ways.
Which, Evander Kane's very good at hockey. Terrible human, very good at hockey.
But on his best shots, he's shooting 5.9% on grade A chances.
That's really bad, yeah.
It is very, very bad.
I think I might actually have a higher shooting percentage.
He's 24. His best years are still probably ahead of him because it takes longer, I swear to God, for big-bodied people to figure out their game because there's just more muscle that you have to train. That wasn't supposed to rhyme, but it did.
I think there's a very good chance that, he could go to Europe, say he plays in the Swedish Elite League for a couple of seasons, finds himself, starts killing it, and makes his way back to the NHL.
I think he just gets traded and finds his way.
Maybe. I don't know. He looks real broken.
He really
on the
does.
NHL ice.
And what sucks is he had last year before, it was oh, dude looks like he's putting it together. And this year it's oh no, you're thinking too hard.
Yeah.
You are mentally broken.
We'll call it the Philip Zadina. And you know what? Sometimes, we talk all the time about, or sport, it's a common trope in sports, oh, he just needs a change of scenery. Jesse Puljujarvi is very clearly saying, my change of scenery is not in the United States.
You
And-
said that, yeah, but I don't know. I kind of believe a change of scenery in the NHL would do wonders.
We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if Edmonton traded him to clear some cap space to make some sort of moves
Right.
at
like,
the deadline or in approaching the deadline. But maybe it's just time to like give this kid his dream and get him back to Europe and let him play somewhere in like, well, obscurity as far as, you know, US markets are
Sure.
concerned. And you know, hopefully he turns around. You know, he's shooting like 18% instead of 5% and having a great time. Like
and surrounded by Finnish ladies. No, I
by
heard,
the Finnish prime minister.
I heard that he might be connected to Anaheim in trade talks. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. They're not going to be competitive for a minute. They can just kind of give him space.
They're going to
they
have
have
Connor
a-
Bedard next year. So
Right. And they have a whole lot of young talent already. Like, he's 24.
he'd be a veteran on that team.
He would be. Yeah. Providing veteran leadership. Well, no, I mean, he can teach these guys what it's like to be through, you know, tough times. Like, I feel like at this point, he would be like one of the grizzled young veterans on Buffalo that has seen like several seasons of hopelessness and still like they're fucking bringing it for their coach now. You know, how easy would it be for like Rasmus Dahlin to just lose hope over the past?
Oh, I think
couple
he
of
did.
years?
And then this year he's got it back. But
Yeah, no, he's got it back with a fucking vengeance.
yeah, he's playing great hockey.
He's like fantasy defenseman like 6 or something like that.
Yeah, let's put more happiness into fucking Aaron's button.
This is not personal at all.
Never. I love Aaron. He's wonderful. We've spent a lot of time on Jesse Puljujarvi.
I think
like,
it's interesting.
Yeah, and you know he's gonna find a way to live his best life, whether that's in the NHL or back in Europe or, you know, being a dairy farmer in like some lower Finnish city, like just outside of Helsinki. Who knows? Like whatever, like he'll be fine. He's made a lot of money. He can take his time to find out whatever it is he wants to do next, whether that's jumping right back on the ice or transitioning or whatever, transitioning to another career. He's going to have a lot of opportunity in front of him to find whatever it is that, you know, really drives him. And, you know, obviously what drives him is not playing hockey in Edmonton, Ontario, or at Edmonton, Canada. What really drives him clearly isn't playing hockey in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Hopefully he finds whatever it is that, you know, gives him that the gumption to live.
Yeah, I think he ends up back in the NHL after I would say max 1 year if he goes away, but I think he just gets traded and finds a new spot. It would be hilarious if you get like Jesse Puljujarvi like CPA at McKinstry or something. Yeah, he seems like the nicest guy. And so that's why I put this on the bad list. I maybe should have put this on some list by itself, but like he's been struggling. He's got talent. We feel for him. Hopefully he can put it together.
So that's a good segue because he's not necessarily on the naughty list, but we're going to move into the good list, or the folks who are receiving presents this year. And
From Hockey Santa.
Well, Hockey Santa giveth and Hockey Santa taketh away. In this scenario, Hockey Santa giveth. One of the coolest stories to come out in the last couple of weeks was that Isaiah Meyer Carruthers, who is sadly best known as being the person bullied and abused by Mitchell Miller, spent some time with Wayne Simmonds, who is like former NHL great and all around rad human being. Despite punching face in the NHL for like 15 years, he is actually like an incredibly wonderful human being, very nice, very caring. And he took Isaiah Meyer-Carruthers to a Wings Leafs game up in Toronto. They palled around all throughout the city and by all reports had an amazing time. There were some selfies that came out on the internets.
Yeah, it looked
various
like
modalities.
They had a really good time.
It looks like, and if you watch interviews with, obviously we've never met Wayne Simmonds and we never will, but like if you watch interviews with Wayne Simmonds, he's very thoughtful. He's very considerate, and he's very like genuine. And that seems like the exact type of person who Isaiah Meyer-Carruthers should be hanging out with. Like,
and they're
somebody.
Sorry, keep going.
Somebody who can be there and be thoughtful should the conversation require it, but who is also just genuinely a good dude and will like show him a good time and like care for this person who has survived so much already. And so like seeing them out and about in Toronto was just so cool to see.
Yeah. Wayne Simmonds has always seemed like a really cool guy. And the selfie that they took, it's like one of those pictures like you can't fake this.
Yeah. Like
they're having a good time together. You know, Isaiah's been through a lot, and Wayne knows this. Wayne's been through a lot in his career. So
Wayne's been through a lot of the same things that Isaiah's been
through. And so, you know, on his 21st birthday, I'm sure he engendered some guidance and some wisdom.
And a friend.
Right.
Like somebody he can reach out to should the need arise in the future.
Right. And like, I know more about what Isaiah Meyer-Carruthers looks like than what Mitchell Miller looks like. That means something.
That's great. Yes. That's an incredibly poignant point. That's incredibly poignant. Like, and I hope that trend continues. I hope that we see more of, or you know what? Let me retract that. Like, hopefully Isaiah Meyer-Carruthers can have a life that does not revolve around the horrible things that have happened to him, but continues to revolve around good things and happy things and positive things. And if we never hear of him again, and that's because he's living a good life, that'd be fucking awesome. And honestly, a lot of the reports that came out after Mitchell Miller was signed by Boston, that he was being forced to relive all of this stuff again.
Right.
Maybe that's the best thing for him, is to like to be able to just live a life of like sort of pseudo anonymity, and
but also get to spend some time with
Wayne
an
Simmonds.
NHLer.
Yeah,
like
the more time with Wayne Simmonds, the better. Honestly,
yeah, he's always seemed like a really cool dude to
Absolutely.
Me. Also, you know, a 1988 Leo, so I support him wholeheartedly. You know, he didn't have to do this.
No, not at all. I honestly, it's just like a reflection of both Wayne Simmonds as a person and also the impact that this story probably had on him when he heard it.
Yeah, and like what I know about Wayne Simmonds is like he probably wasn't put up to this. He probably did it of his own volition.
Oh, no, 100%.
Yeah. He's one of these people, like he knows right from wrong. He knows how to put himself out there when it's going to make a difference. And you said former, he's technically still under contract.
That's true.
And he's played 7 games this season, but you know, not playing a lot on a Leafs team that's like hunting for an identity.
Well, I mean, they're like second in the East right now. So
right. They don't have a whole lot of need for his services at this time. You know, if they were playing Roberto Ruango, of course, yeah, park this guy in front of his net, and well, that would be a problem. But yeah, good to see him spending his time he's not otherwise playing usefully. Like, I don't know. I thought that this was cool on a number of different hockey player levels.
Absolutely.
Something that is very easy to understand as being cool on hockey player levels is Shane Wright. He got his first goal as an NHLer. Not only that, it was versus Montreal, who did not draft him. He was kind of, supposed to be picked first overall. He spent several years as the sort of consensus number one draft pick and then got usurped kind of at the last minute by Slavkovsky, who maybe has a little bit more of an NHL ready body. But yeah, Shane Wright buried one after staring down the Montreal cadre at the draft after they let him kind of fall to 4. And good for him. Seattle did some really interesting things with their roster with him. They wanted to get him AHL experience, even though he is not really AHL eligible. And so they used a technicality where they had to healthy scratch him a bunch, and then they could send him to the AHL for conditioning. And so they did that. But they timed it right so that he would come back specifically for this one game against Montreal. Talk about like playing people's motivations.
And then go to the Canadian World Junior team.
Right, yeah. And then he's off to, one would say bigger and better things, but actually Seattle's good. They sort of don't have a whole lot of use for him right now. And that's kind of another big piece of this equation.
It's shocking, but good for them. We've talked about this a lot already, but good for them.
It continues to be fucking shocking because they are good in ways that they should not be good. But yeah, was super happy for Shane Wright. He's a good dude. The goal he scored was like the most Shane Wright goal ever. Like he just put up shop in a nice open spot and buried a one-timer. That's his game. Also being, very defensively responsible, great skater, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, Shane Wright getting some presents this year.
Speaking of getting some presents this year, Corinne Schroeder we're like 5 weeks into the PHF season, and Corinne Schroeder has already set the PHF record for shutouts in a year.
This is crazy town.
That's fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
And we talked during our PHF season preview, our Better Late Than Never season preview, which I believe was episode 70 or 71.
We're like, she's going to be good.
Yeah. Boston's probably going to be pretty good. Like, they're probably number 1 or 2. No, they're number 1.
Right.
Yeah, they're really fucking good.
With a bullet.
Yeah. They're number 1. She's already broken the PHF record for shutouts in a season, and the Pride have played 7 games. That's 4 shutouts in 7 games.
That's fucking insane.
Lovisa Sealander is an extraneous piece to this team, and she won goaltender of the year twice, I believe.
Which is, this is bound to happen when you increase the amount of money that can be made in women's hockey. Like, you're gonna start to get these A-chip recruits that maybe were destined for some other career.
Like, she was going to Alabama, but now that NIL's a thing, she can go to Boston.
Right. She was headed for KP.
Granted, Boston's probably the Alabama of the PHF.
I was going to say, headed for KPMG and now playing for the Boston Pride. But yeah, this is a bonkers run by any goalie at any level of hockey anywhere. Yeah. Hell yeah, that it happened to the probable rookie of the year in the PHF.
Yeah, I don't foresee anybody playing better than they're playing already. They might already have that sewed up.
Yeah, I feel like this is one award you can just give out at mid-season, but I guess we'll see how it turns out.
The Canadians, as in the nation of Canada, gave away an award.
Oh, yeah?
And it went to Marie-Philippe Poulin.
Down with MPP.
Yeah, you know me. She is the Canadian Athlete of the Year. 100% deserving. Probably the best women's hockey player on the planet. Does nothing but win gold medals. And showing up in big games. And well, all games really, but like also big games.
Yeah, she's had just massive games anytime that Team Canada has had their life on the line in any international play.
It's like and I think she has an outsized impact on women's hockey, especially in Canada, but really in North America, because like she is one of the most noticeable and like name recognition friendly people in all of women's hockey.
And when we talk about, you know, PWHPA versus PHF, like when we complain about not seeing the PWHPA, this is who we're complaining about not seeing. Like she is absolutely worth the price of admission anytime you see her play, and just a completely dominant athlete at her sport. And so it's really awesome to see the Canadian government step up and say, hey, this is our athlete of the year, and to see her get her due, because she absolutely deserves it.
You don't get awards for coming back from injuries midseason, but you know, maybe you should like get some recognition for coming back from a fucking stroke.
Yeah, and not your first either.
Yeah, we speculated about this last time out that Chris Letang would be out for a while, seeing as how it was his second stroke. He's advanced in age since the first one. I believe he was like 26 or 28 the first time, and now he's 35.
Turns out he's only out the amount of time it takes an amateur hockey podcast to record.
Yeah. Well played. He's already playing again. He has recovered sufficiently to continue his hockey career.
Played 22 minutes, 14 seconds.
Ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
which is actually the 2 years that he had. The 2022 and 2014, I think, are the 2 years that he had his strokes in.
Oh, wow. That's weird.
That is weird.
That's really weird.
Yeah, this is, we're speaking of bonkers for the Corinne Schroeder talk. Like, this is like, it honestly feels medically impossible for somebody to do so.
Yeah, for real.
And like, kind of worried about it in a way.
It feels crazy to us. Obviously, this guy knows his body better than anybody else because he's been through this before. He has a heart defect that just causes these things. And so I guess that's why he was able to come back so quickly. It seems out of this world
to
where we're
fast
sitting. Yeah, it seems fast, like in any respect. But I mean, I guess game checks. I don't know. I mean, dude doesn't need the money at this point. He's a Hall of Famer. He could do speaking gigs for, you know, the same money that he makes a game check for, if not more. But just absolutely amazing. Like, he's already a Hall of Famer. He doesn't need to play anymore, and yet he is.
Well, yeah, and you know, hopefully that's with the blessing of medical professionals, etc.
It is. I mean, I'm sure if, you know, he was not able to play, they would say, you know, if there was something that was endangering his life or livelihood later, you know, he would know. But apparently, this is some rather rare disorder. I think it's with a heart valve.
Valve, or like a hole in the wall of his heart, something like that.
Yeah, that just creates these strokes, and just amazing.
Yeah. Also probably bad for your health. Having a 6-minute shift.
Yeah, that might induce a fucking stroke.
Jack Hughes sets what is believed to be an NHL record. Probably isn't, because like shift length was not something that was recorded back in the wanderlust years of the NHL.
Right. Like Bobby Orr probably took a 14-minute shift at some point.
Played like an entire period and then smoked a cigarette after. Like
exactly.
But as far as recorded time goes, Jack Hughes has now set the record for the longest shift ever in NHL history, 6 minutes and 2 seconds, during which he scored a goal, saved 2 goals by blocking shots on an empty net.
And then rattled one off the post.
Yeah, so not only just a long shift, an extremely productive shift.
Right. Like, you don't usually think of Jack Hughes as a block monster. And he's blocked 2 shots right in a row.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look at you getting some fantasy points.
Yeah, as a Jack Hughes owner and long-term...
You've got a lot riding on the career of Jack Hughes.
Oh, I do. And that's why he's my... I'm having fucking word.
Ride or die.
No.
Best friend.
Well, I did change...
State senator.
I did change my number to be his. No, I was just gonna say dynasty pick. He's one of my keepers. Please don't cut this. That was great. Yeah, like,
you know what's even harder on your body?
getting fucking destroyed by another giant human being on a hockey rink.
Getting checked in the face by Ryan Reeves, is way worse.
Philip Hronek,
way harder.
Philip Hronek fucking got it this week. In a, to the casual hockey observer, a pretty blatantly dirty hit, but one that apparently is okay in the NHL.
I don't know if I'd call it dirty.
Oh, it's absolutely dirty.
I would say it's not legal. It's clearly driving through someone's face.
Right. Like, you look at this thing happen in any slow motion, the principal point of contact is the head.
Yeah.
Ryan Reeves probably doesn't mean it as dirty, means it as a body check. He's also doesn't have the puck and is a couple inches taller than Philip Hronek. So it just so happened that the principal point of contact was the head. He got a huge discount in the fact that Hronek is kind of a notorious gambler and looked around at his defensive options, and maybe you were talking about there might have been a delayed penalty that he was looking for.
It's a play that Philip Hronek would take back even if he hadn't gotten destroyed by Ryan Reeves, because you're skating through the middle of the ice in an NHL game, approaching your own blue line, carrying the puck. You should always be looking up.
Yeah, and I kind of think he did see Reeves and thought was trying to pass and get around him. And then when he looked up again, he realized he was out of time.
And I don't even know if he had enough time to think, oh, I'm out of time. I think by the time he looked back, he didn't have time to realize, oh, I'm out of time. It was my face hurts.
Well, he did see Reeves coming, and that's maybe the difference between him being alive and dead. But yeah, Reeves fucking got him. It was, if it had been 6 inches a foot lower prime contact, we would not probably be talking about this.
We'd be talking about it as hit of the year.
Yeah, and maybe Hronek might not be hurt either.
Yeah, if he gets him in the chest, if him and Reeves are the same height, we're like, holy shit, that's the best check we've seen all season.
Right. It's like fucking Casey Jones in a train running into a fucking wall. As another fantasy manager of Philip Hronek, I hope he's okay.
The one thing I will say is after Moritz Seider has looked like he's been trying too hard all season.
Yeah, I think he's having a little bit of a sophomore slump.
He's trying to live up to the Calder, I think.
Absolutely. And that was kind of to be expected almost.
Yeah, and it looks like he's not having fun out there like he did last year. And if one of the aftershocks of this
silver linings
is that Moritz Seider did later in the game had one of his patented reverse hits, laid somebody out. Somebody tried to fight him and he just shrugged him off because he's fucking 220 pounds of German wonder beast.
Wunderbeast.
And it looked like he actually was engaged. And I'm not saying he's not engaged. He doesn't care, like anything like nothing like that. But it looked like he kind of got a little bit of swagger back in this game. The Red Wings lost. It wasn't a great game for them. They're missing their top 3 forwards, and
Hronik's been their best defenseman.
Their best defensive pair, because Alimata's out too. But like, it looked like maybe Sider was like turning this corner into like getting back into the he-wolf mode that he was in all season last season. So,
sure, because that's a huge motivator. You know, you see one of your compatriots go down who's having a really good year so far. Like, you want to pick it up for them, and maybe that's what it takes to get him out of this kind of like gripping the stick too hard kind of thing. I think a lot of Calder winners have gone through it.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
a lot of good rookies have gone through it. It's like, oh, why aren't you why aren't you the same as this year? It's like, well, I'm actually trying harder.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've maybe zeroed in on something that isn't working for me, or maybe I'm just nervous.
Yeah. And so if we get something out of this, hopefully it's like fun Mo Sider back. Like,
That would be nice.
Because Mo Sider is a fucking gem, and I hope we have him as fun Mo Sider for the rest of his career.
Staying with defenseman pairs.
Thomas Chabot threw a bit of a hissy fit on the Senators bench the other day, and like swung his stick without really thinking. It was like this like kind of like temper tantrum meets major idiocy moment. And he hit Travis Hamonic right in the face.
Yeah, he thinks he's got only the stanchion to the right of him, and he swings his stick trying to break it like our favorite Les Piss Baby.
I was going to say, he's like runner-up maybe right now. In the,
yeah,
the Piss
and
Baby.
he fucking just jacks his teammate in the face with his stick.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like,
It's a bad look.
but it was also hilarious. And also, Thomas Chabot felt very stupid.
And very bad.
Right. And like, you can is seen like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, you know, attending to Hamonic. Also, as Puck Soup pointed out, amazing that Travis Hamonic's still in the NHL.
He's
getting
a fair paycheck
absolutely. So my question is like today, who hurts worse, like Travis Hamonic or Philip Hronik?
On a like serious level, I'm gonna say it's probably Thomas Chabot. Travis Hamonic's making $3 million this year.
Wow.
But
Okay.
like, as a like from a like has to face the general public, it's probably Travis Hamonic. Like, so what was it like getting biffed in the face by your bestie on the team? Like, that's not an easy conversation to have.
It really isn't. Like, you know, is Travis Hamonic going to serve up some suicide passes to get Chabot just leveled? Like, I don't know. You don't really want to get revenge, but yeah, that
You maybe peg him with a slapper in practice or something.
you
like
maybe
that.
just peg him, you know?
Yeah, I mean, following a theme.
But yeah, it was really, really hilarious just to like see it. I mean, it's funnier understanding that Travis Hamonic probably okay, but
It's probably in a little bit of pain.
sure.
Yeah.
But he was wearing a helmet, you know, got to stick to the face. Whereas Philip Hronik is,
His whole body might be sore.
yeah, he's definitely, I mean, he was in the concussion protocol. And I
Absolutely.
think he's got a history of probably from similar bold moves through the middle of the ice.
Rumor is that he wanted to come back in the game, and that medical professionals were like, "Nah, bud."
Okay.
No.
Yeah, because it was such an obvious hit to the head that, I mean, this is the second half that we kind of have to talk about is like, how the fuck is this not a player safety issue? Like,
Because the player safety in the NHL is a joke.
oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's the answer.
End of story. Yeah. Speaking of end of story, this has been episode 73 of the Handsome Hockey Podcast. Thank you, as always, for listening and spending time with us. We're not sure why you do it, but we're really happy that you do. If you want to spend a little bit more time with us, you can find us all over the internets. Handsomehockey.com is our website. Handsome Hockey Podcast on Instagram, at Handsome Hockey on Twitter, or handsomehockeypod@gmail.com if you are a fucking degenerate at this point and are sending out emails.
I would love to get an email
that isn't spam. I had to block our email address from sending me notifications because it's just like we've gotten spammed so hard lately. It would be
just
great
having a website is not fun.
No,
Like, I remember when the internet was fun.
it's not anymore. It's got Truth Social and our website on it, and neither of which are fun to have.
It's just, and we get spammed by the same fucking accounts just
Over and over again.
Yeah. I mean,
It's like,
I
guess
feel
what? We're not buying your Nigerian diamond mine.
Elon's spamming us.
Yeah.
If you want to send us something, we would treasure it.
I'd probably frame it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also, we're available on Facebook.
Yeah, that too. And since we had a request for it the other day, maybe we'll put some more of our stuff on YouTube.
That's my fault. I will wantonly say that's my fault.
You jerk.
I know. I'm the worst.
Anyways, thank you so much for listening, folks. We hope you enjoyed it. Have a safe and healthy and happy holiday season, regardless of whatever you celebrate, or if you're celebrating fucking nothing. Have a great time these next couple of weeks. I'm guessing it'll be a bit before we come back, but when we do, there'll be hockey.
May your personal Corsi numbers be above 50.
Oh, thank you for that, and stay handsome, everybody.
Restez beau tout le monde.